You'll never rest, they said. Eventually, you will come to hate your eternal curse, they warned. 6 billion years, 3 intergalactic voyages, and more planets than you can count later, and you're still skipping along, having the time of your life with your cursed existence. The clock beeped at me, but I was already awake. I'd been awake for nearly an hour, not even my usual dozing could settle my mind. It was that day again. My crew had known that this day was special to me. They had missed the celebration by only a day and a half before I requested a bunk on their ship as a secondary engineer. And I was still tipsy when I had stumbled up to them in the dock above the Carrion Swarm Nebula. That was a hell of a day itself, the last time around, witnessing the Carrion Swarm from the Memoriam Superstation. Memoriam acted as the main waypoint for traffic for the entire sector, and its placement was to make it the sole viewpoint for the ancient battle space. To stand before the triple thick windows on the forward viewing platform, and to be able to use my retinal inserts to zoom in on each individual starfighter as if it were paused like a game, was both bizarre and fascinating. To be able to see the Carrion Swarm mothership mid-explosion. Even now, scientists across the galaxy are discovering new things about the whole swarm, both technologically, culturally, and psychologically. I had managed to blag my way onto one of their craft as a replacement systems technician 2 days before, which allowed me to witness the mothership from barely a kilometer away. The fact that the explosion was still as bright as it had been the moment it had detonated was beyond comprehension to many, and the other techs on board that I talked to still did not understand how such an event had been used against the swarm. The swarm itself was alien, even on terms with all the aliens in the Milky Way. It was alien to us all. It was the only fully sentient and spacefaring hive mind that the galaxy had ever encountered, and it was super bigoted. It could not stand the idea of other life competing for resources, and so had consumed the entirety of its home planet. Literally. They had made all other life forms on their home planet extinct, then mined the whole planet in order to build as many spaceships as it could to travel to the next system, to wipe out all life once again. When it reached the Throng Nebula, as it had been called before its rebranding, it had been met with as much violence as our side could muster. I had missed that fight by being on the other side of the galaxy at the time, making friends with a harem of rainbow-skinned nomads that were spreading their religion of loving prosperity for any of those who wished to live without the responsibilities of a job. The Milky Way fleet had understood that the swarm mothership had a weapon that could create gravitons in such numbers that the whole MW fleet would be pulled in and destroyed within seconds. However, a shot made with more luck than any skill from a laser-based weapon had changed the energy signature to such a degree that the whole nebula was now a rupture in space-time. It had pressed pause on the whole battle a million kilometers in all directions, and now the Memoriam had been set up for tourists to gawk and scientists to study from a comfortable distance beyond the rupture, as well as to pay their respects to those of the Milky Way who were stuck there too. My breakfast was a simple and small bowl of cereal, as the ship was going to be docking at the famed superstation Starfalls Resort, and I had wanted to try their breakfast selection. I had heard that chefs from every species in the galaxy had been hired to present an array of dishes to the central replicator, to learn and reproduce for all the guests. Therefore, I had more than enough options to enjoy. The rest of the crew was not far behind me, having also woken early to prep for docking, and their first time off in nearly 3 months, or what passed for months aboard a cargo ship. "So why is this day so special to you?" our green-skinned pilot, Nubira, asked in her harp-like voice that swooned many a soul so easily. "Let me answer your question with a question of my own," I replied, making sure I had the attention of all 6 of them. "How old do you think I am?" "In terms of your homeworld years?" the wise Captain Rockham asked, "or in terms of galactic standard cycles?" "Either is fine," I said. "I will translate the difference if you get close." 30 cycles. Thema, the logistics controller guessed, but I shook my head. 50. Nubira chirped from her seat whilst fully engrossed in the navigational programs. Higher, I hinted. 500 galactic standard cycles, the young chef Reggie, a fellow human, joked. How old would that be in human years? The lead engineer Ramfi asked. About 10,000. Reggie told her. Most humans live less than 100. You're wrong, by the way, I told Reggie. Obviously, he smiled. It's higher than that. What? The look on Reggie's face was easy for the aliens on our crew to translate. The shock and confusion made the cogs inside his head grind loudly. I've been traveling the universe for nearly 6 billion years. Piss off. Reggie thought I was joking and began to laugh at the silly joke. You really had me going. I'm not joking. I turned to the resident Polurian, who could confirm such things. Am I, Joshua? He's not. The purple waves running over his skin showed everyone he was scanning every part of me that would confirm or deny my truth. My heart rate, my voice, but most importantly, he could read minds when he pushed. Read my mind. I reached out a hand to give the Polurian the physical contact that helped them make the connection. But take it slow, there's a lot in my head to see. Joshua looked at Rockham for permission, and the scarred old bastard shrugged his shoulders and nodded his acceptance. The Polurian sat us both down in our seats and placed his lower 2 hands in mine and his upper 2 on my head, his twin thumbs across my temples. No freaking way, Reggie said, still dumbfounded at my impossible truth. Joshua connected to me, and soon I was back on the moon in the back alley clinic where I had been promised the genetic editing to have functional immortality. You will regret it, the doctor had said to me. To have this procedure with your body chemistry means you will always be rejuvenating at a perfect rate. You might never become properly tired, so you will never rest. With enough time, you will come to hate your eternal curse. Joshua fast-forwarded through my life, reminding me of things I had long forgotten, but soon he was seeing the interstellar travel I had endured to make sure the Culvarians had survived their stasis-bound journey to the Andromeda Galaxy. I had been alone with them, all 3 of their AI entities, who had been rapturous company for the whole 2 millennia-long trip, before I was sent back instantly by wormhole, once the connection had been set up. This human was part of the Culvarians' journey that set up the mill and wormhole corridor, Joshua informed the crew. But that was, Emphy tried to say it was an impossibly long time ago, but given the point of the mind reading, it suddenly seemed silly to try and say it out loud. He has been to what the humans call Bernard's Galaxy, also on an intergalactic voyage, and then back again. He really has been alive for 6 billion years. Then you remember Earth? Reggie asked, the first of many questions he would have about my life. I was born there, I confirmed as Joshua broke the connection and the room spun momentarily. I grew up there, before moving to Mars and then back to the moon, all for work. Soon after, I watched humanity as they were first contacted by the Polurians, and then I set out to experience everything. Don't you ever get upset that you have no death waiting for you? Nubira asked. Her whole species reveled in the idea of death. To die doing something amazing meant that the deceased would be revered throughout their tribe, akin to sainthood. And funerals lasted a week, with the soon-to-be deceased at the center of the celebrations. Sometimes, I admitted as I stood to check my own systems on my console. But most of the time I will remember that there is so much more to see in this galaxy alone. I'm yet to visit the Tricolor Array. I recommend hiring a Star Badge guide. Rockham spoke up with his personal experience of the area. They will know the best views. Thanks, Cap. The ship sailed smoothly into Starfalls, and soon the whole crew were enjoying the plethora of pleasure that the casino station had to offer. Yet another year, yet another adventure, yet another experience that many would never have time for. But I have all the time in the universe, so I will get through it all. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description.